4th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Sefer Chofetz Chaim.
Okay.
Good morning, Rabbi Levitt.
Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Lou, again.
Morning, Roy. Morning, Dad.
Alan. Okay, he's coming in. Let's see, what did we get up to? We got up to Tesvav. Not sure what, let's see. I think that's where we got up to. Yeah. Okay, so we're in, good morning, Alan.
Morning.
Okay, so we're in Tesvav. We have a few more lavin to do until Yud Zayin, I believe. And then we're gonna go to the Essen. Tesvav, V'im hu yosam o almona, afilu heim ashirim, v'siper gnusam b'fneihem, oy ve'od alav acher, v'hu kol almona v'yosam lo sa'anun, shizhiru ator b'zeh shelo lahaktinon, o lahachiv libon, v'shum min tsar. So if the person is a orphan, or lost a parent, or lost a spouse, so then the Torah has a special prohibition over here about speaking disparagingly in their presence, b'fneihem. And this is a pasuk in the Chumash, Kol almona v'yosem lo sa'anun. Don't cause hurtful words to such a person. Va'ancho meforish b'Torah. The onesh for this is explicit in the Torah. It's it says v'chara api v'haragti eschem. Rahman litzlan. Very severe repercussion. Now, I'm just looking at this Beremayim Chaim over here. He says that see this is see the what I'm bothered by well, is that well, let's just read this note the Chofetz Chaim says over here. This is actually not the note on this, what he's talking about with the orphan and the widow. It's going back on what he said before. So maybe, okay, so let's just leave that out over here for the time being. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's another love that a person could be over in speech, a special love for orphans or widows. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Tez Zion. Ulefamim over od al iser hanufa shehu laharbe gaonim lav gomor. He could also be in violation of a prohibition of chanufa, which is the flattery, which according to many opinions in the earlier authorities is a lav gomor. It's a definite Torah commandment, a violation of a negative commandment. And which one is that? Muhu lav delo sachnifu esa oretz. It says in the pasuk in Bamidbar, do not flatter the land. So what does that mean? Do not flatter the land. So the Chofetz Chaim explains, Kegon, imiskaben besipuroi haloshen hora b'harechilas kedei lahachnif lahashomea, if he intends with his little talk over here, which involves lashon hora and rechilas, to flatter the listener, shehu yodeya sheyesh lo al oso ploni sina mikvar. He knows about the listener that he has a particular dislike already of the person that I guess he's talking about. And on that account, if he's going to tell him about somebody that he doesn't like bad things, he's going to get in good with him. This is a very despicable thing. Hihama'at mimenu asher eino makayim mitzvah tochacha shehu mitzvah sasei deraisa lochicho alasina asher beno levein lechavero. So, apart from the fact that he's not Jew number one, who knows that Jew number two has a hatred of Jew number three, apart from the fact that Jew number one really has an obligation of tochacha, which is a mitzvah min Torah, says the Chofetz Chaim, to point out this to Jew number two, that his sinna for Jew number three is asur. But he not only does he not point that out to him and call him on it and tell him you have to stop that sinner that you have for this Jew number three, because there's no justification for it. Aval gam yachzik b'sipurov es hasina asher b'neihem mikvar. He's building on this hatred that two has for three. V'al yodo yishne v'ivalto yoter v'yoter. V'ivoled mizeh machlokes chadasha v'od kama kilkulim Hashem yisparenu. He causes much fallout over here between these two, even more than it was before, and he rekindles a new machlokes between them, and all sorts of other improper things as a result of the lashon hora that he is saying, or rechilas that he's saying about Jew number three to Jew number two. V'da the avon zeba avonasenu Rabbi motzu harbe ma'od. This is quite common. V'hu kishe'echad mesaper b'genus chavero. When number one says to number two about number three, v'hashomeya af shemakir shedavar zeh shediber al chavero shalom min adinhu, even though two recognizes that this, what he's saying about Jew number three, is shalom min adin. It's forbidden to talk like that. Afo pikein, nevertheless, ugam kain menanea rosho l'davar zeh. He's nodding his head with every stab that number one takes against number three. Umachlik gamhu es hadavar b'lashono. Shemosif eiz tevos lefgam, and he might even add to the lashon hara by the way he responds to what the number one is saying. Because this person that he's who's speaking is a important person, a powerful person. Sheyeshlo mimenu tovos, and he's received a number of tovos from him. Oshayera sheakziku also le'enu chacham ukadoime. V'alkein yasisenu hayetzer mipnei hadchak sheyaskim gam hu lezeh. And because of that situation, two feels that if one is saying all of this about three, he had better show some type of an acknowledgement and agreement, and even if he has something also bad to say, to throw that in as well, to show that he's together with number one in his denigration of number three. And this is all because he's afraid of number one, afraid of losing his assistance, losing his support, et cetera, because he's such a important and influential individual in the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in other words, we're saying that even Jew number two, who's not essentially the one who's in saying the lashon hara story over here, can also be in violation of this prohibition of lo saknifu es haaretz. Yafilu imrak yosif eze tevos kasher yisbar baber mayim chaim. Even if he just adds a few choice words, that can already be enough to be in violation of this law. It's very interesting the way the Chofetz Chaim explains this and the way the Torah regards it. What's it have to do with the aretz? It's almost like, people talking like this. It causes something in the land. The land is filled with flattery. The land is filled with this type of despicable activity. It affects the land. But really, there's no actual prohibition on saying something to the land. But of course, it's to say to people. That's the way the Chofetz Chaim is talking. Okay, so that's Tes Zion, and now he's continuing. He has another paragraph on this Tes Zion. V'al inyan kazeh shaykh mashenemar. And in this regard, also is pertinent a pasuk in Mishlei, V'samta sakin v'lo echa. You have placed a knife, v'lo echa, in your throat, in your mouth. In bal nefesh ata, if you are a bal nefesh, what's the pshat? Chayav adam limsor atzmo lasakana v'yal yasi es nafshoy avon ashma kazeh. A person has to, he said, I know what he's going to say over here. A person has to place himself in a situation of sakana. He's chayav to do this. And what does he mean? Not to do this sin of Hanifa. And this is a whole Maisa in the Gemara in Sota, famous Gemara with Agrippus and the Chachamim, where the Agrippus, he was Melech Yisrael, and it was he was there in the Beis Hamikdash, and he was reading from the Sefer Torah, as the Melech is supposed to do during Hakel, Hakel, right, is the mitzvah that is performed Motzi Shvius after the Shemitah year on Yontif, one of the days of Sukkot, I believe, and everybody gets together in the Beis Hamikdash, and the Melech reads from the Sefer Torah, and everybody hears, and it's a tremendous assembly there, and he was and the Gemara records over here that he was reading during Hakel, and he came to a pasuk that says, what did the pasuk say? We have to actually look in the Gemara, really, but the pasuk says something to the effect of that one has to, in order to be a king, it has to be Mikerev Amecha, from the Kerev Amecha. What does it mean, Kerev Amecha? So the Gemara in Sota goes into a whole discussion. The truth of the matter is that Agrippas's mother was a Jewess, so he was a Jew, but since he was descended from he was from Beis Hashmonoim, from the house of the Hashmonoim, and there was no real Hashmonoim left except for Avodim. That's the Gemara in Bava Basra with Hordas. So really, he was descended from Avodim, from slaves, and so therefore he was really not fit to be the king. He was not fit to be the king. So he reads this pasuk, and what does he do when he reads the pasuk? He breaks down and he starts crying right there in the middle of the Kriyas HaTorah there, in the Beis Hamikdash, in front of all of Klal Yisrael, and the Chachamim are standing there listening to him. And what do the Chachamim do? The Chachamim, says the Gemara, that first of all they were scared for their lives, right? Because this Agrippus, he could kill them all in 1 second. So they were walking a very tight, very delicate situation over there. So Tosfos says over there that the Gemara says that they said to him, they volunteered to speak up and say to him, "Oh, Agrippus, Achinu ata, Agrippus, you are our brother. You are our brother." And for this, what they said, the Gemara says they deserve to have a very, very severe retribution for that. And so this Tosfos says, true, they were not in a situation, we were talking about Tochacha before, right? They were not in a situation where they had the koach to be mochiach, to give rebuke to the Agrippus and said, really, Agrippus, you're really not supposed to be the melech, because, we have the Torah says, the Kerev Amecha, and blah, blah, blah. And, really, with all due respect, but, we're very sorry to inform you, but you're in violation in being the melech. They did not have to, Tosfos says, they did not have to do that because they didn't have the koach to be able to rebuke him, because he would just kill them. But for some reason, the Gemara says, but Hanifa, they did not have to do. That's what Tosfos explains. That's what the Gemara means when it says they were deserving of a very severe punishment for saying what they said. Tosfos says they should have kept their mouth shut. That's what the Chofetz Chaim is saying over here. A person has to that for the flattery is a very severe prohibition, especially when it involves flattering people who are doing averas. Okay. Anyway, that's the Gemara over there. That's what the Chofetz Chaim is referring to. He continues, V'alpi haTorah sorich b'shas masa al kol panim lehischazek ma'od shelo l'sayoy. That's what the Chofetz Chaim says. At the very least, at the time of the incident, just like it was by Agrippus, they should not have said anything to lend strength or legitimacy or support to Agrippus like they did. They should have just been quiet, and then they wouldn't have been guilty of Hanifa, and they would not also have been guilty of not being mochiakim, of giving him rebuke, because they were not required to give rebuke in that situation. Even with a wink of an eye, they shouldn't give any indication that they are in support of this story of denigration that's being said over here. Even though the story is being said by a very powerful and influential individual, has a lot who they're afraid of. Really, they have to listen to the life of Bitochen and know that no person, even Agrippus, has any koach over them. Only Hashem has koach over them. The Agrippus is as they say on the hotline, he's Play-Doh, whipped cream cheese. He can do nothing to them without the Ratzon Hashem. Hashem doesn't want them to do anything. Want him to do anything to them. Nothing will happen. Okay. ועל זה שייך מיימר חכמינו ז"ל באדיוס, מוטב שיקרא אדם שוטה כל יומov. Okay, so in other words, that's the idea that's brought in Adios. Adios is a of Mishnayos that records all sorts of historical discussions between the Chachomim, and it says over there, it's better for a person to be regarded by others as a shota his whole life, rather than be in violation and be unwanted and by doing an avera in front of Hashem. V'zehu afilu im hu mevin shedrachav devorov tochecha lo yiyu nishma'in lahamasaper. Ilav hochi b'vadai chayev lahochicho. Gam ken al zeh kash yispire im yirtz Hashem l'komam behilchos lashon hora. Okay, what did he just say over here? I'm just going to read it again. Zehu afilu im hu mevin shedvorov betochecha yiyu nishmoim l'masaper. Right. This is even so if he would want to give tochacha and he says that, oh no, the person's not going to listen to my tochacha. This person number one, the masaper, the one who's telling this story. Because otherwise, says the Chofetz Chaim, if he would listen, so then of course the proper protocol and the halacha is that person number two should say to person number one, listen here, you are, I'm sorry to tell you this, you're such a nice guy, but you're speaking lashon hara, you can't do that. If you would not speak this lashon hara that you're speaking, you'd be such a great guy. So don't do it. Give him tochacha. If he would listen. And that is one of the obligations of the one who finds himself in a situation of being the on the listening end of lashon hara. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay, so we go to Yud Zayin. This is the last lav. Ulefamim, and sometimes yesh od lav acher. There's also another negative prohibition. Lefi Mashamotzei, Bavonosenu Arabim, Shemadaber Alav Lashon Hara Mitoch Kas. Sometimes we find in our days where people do things what they do, that they speak Lashon Hara out of anger. Ubishas Masa, hu makalalo gamken, and he curses this individual. Ulefamim, hu makalalo b'shem, afilu balaz, and sometimes he ends up using Hashem's name to do this. And even if it's not a Shem Hashem of Lashon HaKodesh, even if it's a Shem Hashem of a foreign tongue, would also be over in violation of the prohibition of lo sekalel cheresh. Don't curse a deaf person. Now, what does it mean? Don't curse a deaf person. Somebody else who's not deaf, you'd be able to curse. Of course not. Why does the pasuk use the expression "don't curse a cheresh," a person that can't hear? Kavanas HaKosav says the Chofetz Chaim, afilu cheresh, even somebody who can't really hear what you're saying to him, that also is absolutely forbidden to curse him. Kol shekain misha eino cheresh, all the more so somebody who is able to hear and is able to understand what you are saying to him. And with that, we have completed. Yes, we have completed. Oh, no, we have another paragraph in this same section. Hooray. Chishavnu Shiva Asar Lavin Haragilin Lavo Al Yedei Sipur Lashon Hara V'Rechilas. Here you have 17 potential Torah violations as a result of speaking Lashon Hara or Rechilas. Afilu hu mesaper rak li Yisrael, even if they are told only to a Jew. De'im hu malshin al Yisrael bifnei kusi, but if he will denigrate a Jew to a kusi, someone who is not a Jew. I guess that's from the censor. I assume it just means a non-Jew. A kusi is a whole discussion who a kusi is in the Gemara, whether they have a din of Geri Arias, Geri Emes, the whole story with the lions coming and attacking them. Anyway, Yisuroi yoter gadol v'yoter chamur. Then, if he's saying this to a non-Jew, his the gravity of the situation, the seriousness of the prohibition is even more grave. V'niknas lefamim b'chlal mosur. Then he goes into a category of being categorized as a mosur, an informer. Kasher neva'er im yirtz Hashem l'kamam behilchos lashon hara b'klal shmini. Right, an informer is somebody who goes to the government or to the non-Jews and informs to the non-Jewish authorities about, or even to non-Jews, I guess, even if they're not authorities, about a Jew's misdeeds, and that could bring, of course, very severe fallout to the Jew that he's talking about. So that gives a person a status of a masur, and a masur, the Gemara says, is we say about him that he's a rodef. A masur is a rodef, and one has a chiyuv to take his life before he does his informing. Harbe melavin anal shechayavin aleihem misa bidei shemayim kamo al genus dalmona biyosam. And a number of these lavim are not just ordinary lavim that have lashes, or maybe they don't have lashes because they don't involve an action, but they involve severe repercussions, such as Misa B'dei Shemayim, which we find, he says, by the prohibition against shaming an orphan or a widow. V'al Chilul Hashem, and the desecration of Hashem's name. It's not just a ordinary lav. Many of them have repercussions regarding olam haba. What does that mean? Kagon malbin penei chavero barabim umiskabed beklon chavero lemisha rogil es atzmo ba'avon hachamur hazeh shel lashon hora u'rechilas kasher nevaer imir Hashem akol lekama. That some of them, he means to say, the consequence of being malbim penei chavero barabim, the Gemara says, is ein lo chelik l'olam haba, and the Chofetz Chaim says this could be this is one for someone who is accustomed to speaking with the lashon hara rechilas. We'll explain it when we get there. Be'ez Hashem. Okay, a round of applause for the laving of lashon hara and rechilas. Okay, gentlemen. Should we go on to the positive commandments that he is in violation of?
Yes.
Okay. We have 14. We have 14 over here. So what is that? 17 and 14, 31. 31 Torah prohibitions in all that are involved in speaking lashon hara or rechilas. It's absolutely staggering what the Chofetz Chaim has done over here. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to start with the positive ones. Over. Al yedei zeh al mitzvahs aseh zachor es asher asa Hashem Elokecha leMiriam baderech. Remember what Hashem did to Miriam along the way. And that's a pasuk in Devorim, but the episode, which is we had in last week's parsha. In last week's parsha in Baloska, we had this episode with Miriam, speaking about Moshe Rabbeinu. And so when somebody speaks lashon hara or rechilas, they're in violation of this pasuk, says the Chofetz Chaim. Shehis hiranu haTorah bezeh shenizkor bapeh tamid. Ha'onish hagodol asher asa Hashem yisparach letzadekes Miriam hanavia shelo dibra ela ba'achia. The Torah wants us to remember this verbally, and this is why they have it, in the back of the Shachris. After Shachris, they have the number of things that one should mention. And the Chofetz Chaim says over here, you should mention it b'peh, should mention it verbally, tamid, always. The great punishment that this great tzaddikus suffered, even though she was a tzaddikus, even though she was a navi, neviah. Shelo dibra ela ba'achicha. She only spoke about her brother. Asher have bashu kanafsha, whom she loved like herself. V'gidlasu al birkeha. She raised him from an early age. V'sichna atzma latzilo min hayam. She put herself in sakana in order to save him when he went from the gezerah of Paro. V'hilo dibra begnuso. She really didn't even speak about him in a disparaging way. Ella masha hishbasa oso l'shar nevim. She was only saying that we know that by other nevim, the proper hanahaga is that one is married and has a spouse, and et cetera, et cetera. V'lo dibra b'fanav sheyevosh v'lo b'fnei rabim. She didn't speak to embarrass him. She didn't speak in public about this. Rak beina lebein achia. Only between herself and Aaron, who was also a brother. Achia kodesh b'tzina in private. V'hulo hikpid al kol hadvarim ha'elu. And on top of it, Moshe Rabbeinu had no kapeda on the words that were said. He didn't feel badly at all. The pasuk says, "Ha'ish Moshe anav ma'od." Moshe was a great in his humility. V'afal pikein, and nevertheless, lohu iluha kol ma'aseha hatoivim v'nensha b'tzaras al zeh. All to no avail, she was afflicted with tzaras. Kol kal v'chomer, and what are we supposed to learn out from that story? Kal v'chomer l'shar b'nei adam hatipshim amar beledaber gedolos v'niflos al chavreihem shebavadai yanshu al zeh ma'od. So we have to take the lesson that we don't have to. We should not go around making judgments about what people are supposed to do and what people are not supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not something to do. And the repercussions, even though we don't have tsaras today, but the repercussions are severe, says the Chofetz Chaim. Okay, that's Aleph. So in violation of that, whenever a person speaks lashon hara, rechilas, he's in violation of that essay. Zachar, Miriam. Base. But overall, yidei asipor hazeh gam al mitzvah saseh v'ahavta l'recha kamocha. He's in violation of the commandment to love your neighbor. Shenitztavinu bezeh lachus al momen chavero kamo shehu chas al shel atzmo. V'lachus al kvod chavero l'saper b'shivchoi kamo shehu choshesh al kvod amo. He's supposed to, just like he himself protects his own financial standing, and he also is very protective of his own honor and his own reputation. So too, a person has to be careful with other people's as well. That's what it means to love your neighbor. Afim adavar emes, and even if the matter is true, what is being said, nir ba'alil she'eno oyavo klal. It appears that if he said these types of words about this person, he is not he doesn't like this person. The kol shekain the kamocha b'vadai eno makayim, and he certainly, all the more so, not only has he not been makayim v'havta l'reyacha, to show his ava for another Jew, but certainly hasn't been makayim kamocha, as yourself, because he certainly would not want to have somebody else say such words about him. So if that's so, then why is he saying these words about somebody else? Araya gedola alze, dalo kol adam yodea es nige atzmo. And proof of this, I have a great proof, says the Chofetz Chaim. What's his proof? Every person knows his own negoyim that he has, his own blemishes, his own shortcomings. V'afal pikein eino rotze b'shum oifen shechavero yodea mizeh af echad me'elef. But he doesn't want anybody to know about them. Certainly not. Not even 1 in 1,000. V'afi meira shenoida ma'at michesronosa v'etzel chaveroi v'chavero holech u'mesaper ze la'anashim afal pikein hu omed u'metzaper halavai she'iteitem shelo yikablu es devorov v'lo yaminu loi. And even if such a thing would happen, that some of his shortcomings known to his friend, and his friend go and relate these shortcomings in front of other people. Nevertheless, what does the subject of the speech say? He says, "Halavai," that all those people will say to the person who's saying it, that's not true. We don't believe what you say. Hakol kedei shelo yischazik beinehem la'adam she'eno hagon. And this is all so that other people should not regard this person as being someone who's not proper and respectable. After who yodea ba'atzmo harbe v'harbe meha'avonos yoter mimash siper haveru alav. Even though the person himself knows that not only is what the speaker is relating about him is absolutely true, but he knows that he's got many other averas that he does that nobody so far has found out about, and nevertheless, this is the way he feels. That he doesn't want him to say it, and he hopes that no one will believe it. Kain ba'ofen zeh mamash. So therefore, exactly is this matter so? Al piatora lasos l're'ehu lachus al kvodo b'kol alfanim. Even he has to, even if you have to have rachmanos on your fellow Jews' honor, even if you happen to know things about him that are far from complimentary and averas that he has done, but you're not allowed to relate them to other people. That's lashon hara. And not only that, what we're saying is that Chofetz Chaim is proving it's a violation of ahavta re'echa kamocha. That's what he means when he says he has a proof, has a great proof. Because just ask yourself, what would you like for yourself? You wouldn't want like that. You wouldn't want what this person is saying about you wouldn't want it. So therefore, don't do that to him either. And it's not for nothing that the Torah writes the episode about Noach. V'yesht, v'yishkar, v'yisgal. Noach drank, and he became drunk, and he became revealed. V'yar Cham, and Cham saw this. V'shem v'yefes, kisu es ervas aviem. But the other two brothers, Shem v'yefes, what did they do? They covered their father's erva. V'gam sipra lanu haTorah. So they covered up his disgrace. This was the proper hanhaga, not like Cham, who looked at his father's disgrace and shame. V'gam sipra lanu haTorah es habracha shebercham Noach v'nizkaimo levasof. And the Torah tells us the bracha that Noach gave, and in the end, the bracha was fulfilled. Laharos lanu es gedulas hamida hazos, to show us the greatness of this midah. Shetzorich ha'adam l'chapos al genus chavero, b'kol koko kamo al shel atzmo. The Torah relates that, right? Noach, he gave a curse to Ham, his son, that willfully looked at his disgrace and his shame. And to the other brothers, he gave a great bracha to both of them. And the Chofetz Chaim is saying because they were very careful with the honor of their father, not to cover over his disgrace completely, so that they shouldn't even see it themselves. Right? What did they do? They walked backwards towards the father without seeing him, and they I think they threw the cloak over him to cover him up. Even to walk towards him, panim al panim, face to face, in order to cover him up, they didn't want to do, to have to see him in such a disgrace, in a shameful state. And they got great brachas from it, and they were fulfilled. Gimel, lefamim over nami b'mitzvah saseh the b'tzedek tishbod amisecha. Sometimes when a person speaks lashon hara rechilas, he's in violation of failing to judge favorably a person in the Jewish people. Kigon, he sees that his friend or did a certain thing. He has he can interpret what was said in a few ways. He can interpret it favorably. He can interpret it not so favorably. Even if the person is not known as a tzaddik, he's known as an ordinary Jew. Nischayvenu min haTorah b'mitzvah aseh azul ladon es oso lekavskos. In this situation, he should give. He's required. The Torah requires to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did no wrong, and therefore there's nothing to speak about. You don't speak about your friend and say, "Oh, you know what? I saw Plony today. He got into his car and then he drove to the store. Wow!" Do people go around saying those things? No, because there's nothing bad in doing that. There's nothing impermissible in doing that. There's nothing shameful in doing that. It's not interesting. V'im ha'ishahu yorei elokim. But if the person is known to be a yorei elokim, he's a cut above most ordinary Jews, or two. Nischayavnu ladunoso lekavskus. Then we have an obligation to judge him, give him the benefit of the doubt. Gam kikaro v'nota yoter adavar lekavchova milekavskus. That's even in a situation where the thing that you saw him do or hear him say looks on the face of it to be an aveira. You have to give him. You're obligated to judge him on a kafskus, that it wasn't an aveira that he did, that there was some reason why he needed to do what it was that he did. If he's a yorei elokim. So what does that have to do with lashon hara? Now the person sees this, he judges him unfavorably against the halacha, so he's in violation of b'tzedek tishbod amisecha, and then he goes ahead and relates about the incident to other people. Misha holek u'mesaper begnuso avur Avur adibor hazeh shediber, o amasa hazeh she'asa, o makabel shenischazek etzlo legnus avur zeh sheshama alav, v'lo dano so lekafskus over b'mitzvahs aseh zo. Right. So whoever goes and relates this episode to others is in violation. Okay. Okay, Dalit. Ve'im al yedei sipuro heloshen hara orachilas hishpil es chaveroi ad she'ibed michiosoi al yedei zeh kegon shemipnei roya levavoi pirsam al chaveroi she'eno ish meheman. If he says about his friend that he's not a ish meheman, he's not a trustworthy individual. Oh, imhu bal malacha, or if he is a craftsman of sorts, pirsem olav she'enu roy lemalacha hahi, he's not really a very good craftsman. He doesn't really do a good job at all, hardly. This type of talk is very, very dangerous. Over gamkein al mitzvah saseh shenemar give a toshav v'chai imach. Shenemar v'chai achicha imach. These two psukim in the Sefer Vayikra, shenitztavinu, on the basis of these two psukim, we are commanded b'zeh lehakzik b'yad Yisrael shemach. We are commanded that when a Jew falls on hard financial times, to assist him and to help him stand up. Litain lo matana, o halva, o lasos imo shutafut, o hamsilo malacha. We try to find some way to help him so that he can get back on his feet. Kedei sheis chazek v'zeh v'lo yipol v'yitztarek labrius, so that he can be self-sufficient and not have to be reliant on the community. Yalachas kama v'kama shemitzuvin shalo ligroim loy she'abed mechyoso. And so therefore it follows, says the Chofetz Chaim, that if we're commanded to do that, when he fell on hard financial times, not based upon anything that we did, we're nevertheless obligated to help him to get up on his feet. Certainly we can't do anything or say anything here to cause him to be in a situation of hard financial circumstances by saying that he's incompetent or that he's not trustworthy. So person will be in violation of those two positive commandments to assist a fellow Jew in need. Okay, we're way past, and nobody said anything.
Okay, we'll see you in 10, 15 minutes.
Ezra Hashem, Ashikoyach.
Oh. Mhm, mhm.